Hello, welcome to the Crackpot Podcast.
A beautiful day to start up a revolution. Molotov cocktails, martini shotgun shells, wild, 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 wild one. God forbid the cops get called. I say the more the merrier inside this free. See it all. I got front row ticket to the greatest show of all.
Welcome to the Crackpot Podcast. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Lynn and Sarah.
We have a special guest today, and we're going to call her Sarah. So we're going to talk with Sarah about her upbringing in a foreign country in an economic environment that was conducive to employment arrangements that might be interpreted in a different way, in a different time, unpaid employment arrangements between families and, that fits into all the talk that we've done about slavery on this podcast and in your books.
That sounds great. Since I've been a hobo for the past year and a half, I've been experimenting with unpaid employment. And it's actually worked out very well for me. These people don't hate me. The people that used to pay me, they hated me. These people like me.
Oh, that's a big, yeah.
But
that's a great point.
Like
Yeah, your boss hates you and you hate your boss, but in other arrangements, it's possible to be quite different. So before we do that, I want to tell you what's going on in South Africa. It's absolutely wild. What's going on in South Africa is the native blacks in South Africa are basically going to war against Nigerians and Mozambicans. And the reason for this is economic, because people from other parts of Africa are coming to South Africa for work, and of course they drive wages down, and South African blacks are not happy about that. And the president of South Africa, Julius Malema, tweets the following: "Our anger is directed at wrong people. Like all of us, our African brothers and sisters are selling their cheap labor for survival. The owners of our wealth is white monopoly capital. They are refusing to share it with us, and the ruling party ANC protects them. Hashtag One Africa is possible." Since we had Lloyd De Young, who's a South African man, on recently as a guest, I thought I would share that with you.
Well, I was very polite when we had Lloyd on, because he thinks white people are the best thing since sliced bread. But I'm pretty much the opinion that white people leave a lot to be desired. Maybe it's like an allergy. When you spend a lot of time with people, you become allergic. But I can see where that fellow's coming from. Now, there was a movie from about 15 years ago about aliens. It's a South African movie.
Yeah.
Where it was made in Africa with South African actors, and the bad guys in the movie were Nigerian criminals that were selling dog food to
District
the aliens.
9. Is it called District 9?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I never saw it.
So in that shot in South Africa, the Nigerians were the bad guys in that movie, a decade and a half ago.
Yeah. And it's the story of economic
This is no
migration that causing tension that is happening everywhere in the world. Economic migration. People don't like it. Well, I mean, Lloyd's view on white people is that white people did good things for South Africa. South Africa was nicer when white people were in charge. That's not really a controversial statement, is it?
Well, it depends on what you're into. I'd rather see constant tribal. I think that's a nicer situation.
Yeah, people are getting chopped up with machetes. That's right up your alley.
Right, and seriously, what's the alternative? Is to be a bunch of bug people. But basically, you're either going to devolve into this tribal savagery, which I think is pretty cool, or you're going to devolve into becoming these bug people that drink like 2.5 Starbucks every morning while they're ignoring their children in the car seat behind them while they're racing other people to the place where they're going to sit down all day long. So I don't know. I'd rather be involved in tribal warfare than be a bug person.
Oh, okay. That reminds me I have to go get a piece of paper.
So how are you doing, Sarah?
Asking me how I'm doing.
You're sitting there.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm doing good. Thank you. Finally, I get to say hello in person. Nice meeting you, James.
Oh, nice meeting you.
So I had made these notes a long time ago and never said them on the podcast, so I'm going to say them now. So when we talk about slavery, we're often talking about children. And children get sold by their families. Sometimes they get kidnapped by others. But it often happens that a child comes from a large and poor family, and their parents find some situation for them that is quite likely to be better, quite likely to have a better chance of their simply even surviving. So I thought about the ways that, and that's always something that people claim that they can't imagine ever doing that. Can't imagine ever giving up my child. So I'm going to name a few things that I noticed that occur in America today, where people essentially sell their children. The first one is, I've heard that this happens when people have a poor credit score. They use their child's social security number to get credit, whether it be for utilities or cell phones or other things like that. And so that's a form of basically cursing your child with bad credit before they even have a chance to grow up.
I have an example of it.
Mm-hmm.
I have an example of that. Oliver O'Hayes. I write on his website sometimes about boxing. The IRS came after him. He worked on his own since he was 15. He had his own cable installation business. And then he got a notice that when he was 15 years old, he made $50,000 that he hadn't paid taxes on. Time he was done sorting this out with the IRS, he discovered that his father, Oliver's family came from Jamaica, his father gave Oliver's social security number to a friend of his who is an illegal Jamaican immigrant, and he used it while he was working construction and didn't pay any taxes. Yeah. And then the government ended up coming after him.
Extremely common. This happens a lot, and this brings me to the next one, where persons who are not citizens have children in the United States. They get a birth certificate, they get a social security number and a passport, and all those documents would be very valuable in their home country, and they do not hesitate to sell the children's documents back overseas to help more people move into this country. And my mom has seen that happen many times.
Trump is involved in this personally. His one hotel in Florida, these Russian women who are so good looking, you must imagine they're the wives of mobsters, are for $150,000, they can come to this hotel in Florida and have their child, so that their child will be a U.S. citizen.
That is a practice that is very common among Chinese women as well, and that wealthy Chinese and Russians are doing it all over the West Coast and East Coasts. It's not by any means exclusive to the Trump Hotel. In fact, I'm sure that you can easily find places. I mean, that you can find American Chinese owned facilities where the women, this is the entire purpose of the facility here in California. So you run this basically like a boarding house, and wealthy Chinese women come in and spend part of their pregnancy and delivery here in the United States. So
in New York, there was a Chinese woman that was running one of these houses.
yeah.
And she was selling the baby for adoption to American families who couldn't.
Oh, she was even selling babies. Wow.
Yes, she was selling.
Yeah, that
was
something
a year and a half ago.
You would do that with poor women from Eastern Europe, I would guess, where you'd have them come and surrogate a baby. Yeah, or Indian women. That would be something that the poor women would come and do and rent their wombs. Then, on the other hand, you have people who seem to abuse their children without even getting anything. Well, okay, here, no. I also remember drug addicts. You see these stories quite a bit where some really cracked out mom is like pimping her children out for drug money.
That's pretty common in a place like Baltimore. Well, Sarah, how long have you been in the country? How long have you been in this country?
I think 75. I was thinking
75?
the year because I wanted to get here for the 200-year birthday, 1776. So I wanted to be here. It was that 200 year on the 76.
Yeah.
So I made it here on February 75. So how many years is that mathematically?
44.
That many. I couldn't shake my accent though.
Yeah.
I still have it. But it was privilege to make it here way back in the day. We didn't think of getting help. We wanted to help to keep this country beautiful like it was, I thought.
Okay, I have a few more ways people sell their children, or in fact, even pay money. So a lot of moms pay big bucks for childcare. And I know women who work and pay childcare, and I know women who don't work and send little Susie and Bobby to childcare starting really early. And, they call it preschool, and it costs a fortune. But they do that. So that's paying other people to take your children, not even selling your children. These are people who have, plenty of money and privilege and stuff. And then there's also this.
So if to sell them, if people today are willing to pay people to take children away, then certainly people would be willing to take money to have people.
Exactly. It's like you're going even further down the spectrum of think about what your children really mean to you. And the last one I wanted to say was these women who are families, parents who are really into like the gay thing, like the drag children. I mean, if you're willing to do that to your child, I would much sooner sell my child into labor plantation than hand them over to the drag queen people. So that's a list I came up with. And the reason I wanted Sarah to join us is because she grew up in a foreign country, an economic environment which I call third world economy, basically, where labor is really cheap. There's rich and there's poor, and there's a lot of people have a lot of help in terms of labor. So I will ask you a few questions. Okay.
Fire.
Sarah, did you ever clip your own fingernails when you were growing up?
No. What?
So tell me how you, as a young person, how you managed your manicure and pedicure.
First, I have my nanny, which that's an old story. And then I did a horrible job, so I recruited my sister.
No, Mauricio.
Couple of times, and then I found out that Mauricio was a student from Chile. So, and I asked him casually, how do you make your living to get college here? And he says, oh, they make it cheap for asked for the nurse, but also I cut nails. Do you have a salon? No, he says, I go houses. Oh, great. Then you come to my house and do my nails. Well, what's a little tip? All you can eat whatever mom's cooking. And I did not feel that I was a slave owner. I'm sorry to tell you, but
I'm not talking about Mauricio. I'm trying to help understand that labor, like, you know, if you, in the United States today, if you want to pay a man to come around to your house to give you a manicure and pedicure, it's going to cost big money. But in that environment, you, like, offer him a meal and give him a couple bucks, and he'll come around and cut everybody's toenails in the house. And right? Mm-hmm. And I experienced this when I went. We have family in different parts of South America, so I don't want to be too specific. But I was in a different South American country, and there were other family members there, and they're like, "Oh, the wax lady is here. The wax lady is here." I was like, "What does that mean?" And it was a lady with a bucket of wax that was waxing everybody's legs and underarms and everything like that. And I was just kind of shocked. Like, she puts this bucket on your stove and warms it up the wax, and then, you know, looks after all the ladies go into a bedroom together and kind of have girl time. So it's just normal. So what other kind of help did your mom have in the household?
We had a living girl, a lady that came to wash her clothing Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday she will wash it, Thursday she will iron it. Then we had a couple from Germany that taught us music. We had another couple from Germany that taught us drawing.
But what about the wool?
We had another couple from Germany, I don't know, but the man was blind, so he will just shake the wool for our mattress and blankets.
Make you new mattresses
every year. And the wife and the two girls will sew all our beautiful clothing that you will think we bought them on, what's the name of that? The best?
Fancy, I don't know.
Fancy mall that I went once. The one that had the rock.
We're not going to say.
Okay. Well, there is a mall that I go and I love the clothing. I have that type of clothing made on my house. We have this little, like an in-law quarter outside the house. We housed them. We had all kinds of Eastern European people that would come and do the goose for our pillows a week a year. And the other people would brew the beer with my dad. We had all kinds of, but it was just fun.
So it was kind of a barter economy, partly barter and partly cheap labor, right?
Yes.
Both together. And your family was wealthy.
Sarah, did you just say you had a German man that lived in your house and brewed beer for you?
He would
come beer?
Come by. We make it. The Italians would come and make sausage. I didn't say German. I said someone needs to come and do the beer with my dad.
And he would stay for how long?
And they would say a week or two, and then they would come and all kinds of things, just like that. And it was normal for us. And well, my grandma would cook for all of them, and my dad would pay for the food. So I never thought we were rich. We thought we were well.
Okay, tell us about your grandma. She was a very good cook.
My grandma was a good cook, and she cooked, and she was the main lady on the palace of some Spanish royalty.
Okay, so go back. So she was a cook for a wealthy family in Italy.
That too.
Oh, right.
She was raised by them.
She was raised
by this family.
So what happened to her? She was an orphan.
7, the father. The mother was very young. Died at birth with another kid, and then both died. And she became an orphan when the dad died.
So at 7, she was an orphan in Italy.
Yes.
And what happened to her?
There was not enough food for her, so they found a couple that didn't have any children, and they got her, and they trained a really nice lady, like, nice house. They had telephone like more than a year ago, an electric stove. So that
this
was
is an Italian family that had
nice
electricity and phone in the house about 100 years ago. So that was a wealthy family that took in your grandmother when she was a 7-year-old orphan.
Yeah.
And they treated her well, but she was a servant in the house, right?
She knew that she was like a daughter because they didn't have one, but she was a master servant.
Right. So,
Yeah, she was a servant in the house.
Yeah.
Changing because she was an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
So, normal.
Okay. And then moved to South America with her
When
husband.
my grandpa married her, he lived in America for 14 years. And when he wanted to come back.
So her ancestor, so your grandfather had come to America and he actually worked in coal mines
14
in
years.
Pennsylvania.
That's right.
And went back to Italy to get married, and then they didn't let him back in the United States because the racists had, in 1925, changed the immigration rules against Southern and Eastern Europe. So that's why,
And
Grandpa.
so he was working around 1920. He was working
He
in
worked
the coal mines.
since he was
Yeah.
14 years to 28 years in the coal mines. He managed to save 10,000.
That was a very tough job.
Yeah.
I had family I married into that their ancestors worked those mines.
He was a big, strong man.
A lot of people from Hungary worked in those mines in around 1900 in Pennsylvania. And there's still a lot of Italian families living in the Pittsburgh area that are left over from coal miners.
So when they went to South America, she worked again as a cook for a wealthy family.
Yes, they're more like royalty. They had a palace,
Yeah.
Ferreira. And you can see it on,
It's
if you
still
Google
there.
it, it's still there. Beautiful.
Yeah, still a prominent family.
No, it's
No?
a museum now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's too much taxes.
Okay, so I wanted to go now to when you were little, you were one of 4 children, and your grandmother was a busy lady, and she had lots of help around the house. So how did you come to have this nanny? Her name, so what you called her was Pituca, right? Was that her
Yeah.
name?
No,
That's a
I don't
nickname.
even know her name.
Yeah, that's a nickname,
I was
Pituca.
too small.
So how did she first come to your house?
Well, she was in a house with lots of kids from Spain. And she thought that my grandpa had a food growing, and they had a whole block to grow their food and the animals they live off the land. So she asked my grandpa for some food, and he says, you can work with me, and then I feed you.
So that was the rule in your house. When people came around,
Asking for food, my grandpa or my mother would make him work. So if you can help with the wood, then you can eat. So she did help and come back over and over until one time she didn't go back to her house. She was 11 years old. She adopted herself in my grandparents' house. They didn't say no. My mom was 16 then.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Your mom was 16?
And she was 11.
So she was only 5 years. I thought she was closer to your age.
No, she was young. She was a little younger than my mom. I look a lot younger because she was little and red hair and blue eyes and acted like she was a skinny little girl.
So she lived with your mom for a long time then?
Totally. She was
Like
my
10,
mom.
10 or 15 years?
I was like 4 when she left the house.
And your mom was at least...
She got my brother when 19.
Oh, that was young.
And I got 21, so
Okay, so she lived with your mom for 10 years
or more. Mm-hmm.
And she first was adopted by your grandparents.
Yeah.
And then your mom got married. And
No, before that, my mom put the sweatshop in the house.
Well, we call it a sweatshop, but
there were 5 machines only.
Your mom was good at sewing.
Yeah.
And she was a busy lady, always doing stuff. So she set up a small business with 5 sewing machines and lots of employees coming and going. So she worked for your mom in the sewing shop.
Yeah.
What was her job there?
I think pressing.
Pressing. Did she ever get paid in cash?
My dad gave her tip all the time.
So that your mom was already married.
after that I can witness with all the people.
Do you
in
think
the
your
house.
grandparents ever gave her cash?
No.
No, but they fed her and
No.
took care of her. She
They
lived in
were
the
like
house.
her their kids.
Yeah,
They didn't have allowances for kids back in the day when you were regular.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe rich people did, but regular people that have to work, you're happy that you have a roof and clothing. The thing was when my dad gave her money, my mom married at 19.
Yeah.
When my dad gave her money, she would buy cigarettes.
Oh,
Because she
naughty.
got clothing, she got food, she got shelter, she got everything.
And she wanted cigarettes?
She wanted to smoke and buy books.
Oh.
That's the only two things that she got with the tip money my dad gave her.
Okay. So when your mom got married, did she come to live with your mom? Or did she stay with the grandparents?
I can't say I was too young, but my mom was the neighbor of my grandmother.
So they live close by.
Close by. There was
Okay.
in the same block. My grandpa made another house next to his house for my mom.
Did she live the same as your mom? Like, do they share a bedroom, or when they were young, when they were little, when they were younger?
She was sleep with us with the kids. Now I remember when she
Yeah.
went back to grandma, she had her own place in my grandma's house,
Yeah.
like a kid, their own family.
So she cared for you from birth, then.
Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
loved her more than my mom. I did not need my mom at all. I did not need my mom.
Okay, so she cared for you from birth, and then so that by that time she must have been living in the house because you were the second. You were the
Yeah.
second of 4 children. So
Yeah.
probably by the time the first was born,
Yes, probably yes,
She
because when
moved
Peter
over.
was born, she was in our house.
she was already there.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he's what, 3 years younger than
3
you?
years younger than me. That's what I think. Maybe I was 5 because I remember her.
Yeah.
Ah.
So this lady looked after you
Mm.
day and night.
Day and night. Tell me story. Made my hair pretty.
Did she look after your older brother?
Yeah, but mostly me.
Was there anyone else there looking after your older brother?
My grandma probably.
Grandma? Okay.
Yeah.
No other servant?
I can't recall because I was too young.
Yeah.
So who cares your brother when you have somebody full time with you? You don't worry.
So when your younger brother was born, did she spend time with you? Or
Yeah.
with him? Or how
When my brother was born, we already had a living person with us.
another living
Another
person?
living person, Betty.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Betty
And
was
what
in
were
my
her
house.
responsibilities?
Her responsibility was to clean the house, keep us clean because my mom could not stand dirty kids, and play.
Did she get paid?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
She
Pituca
got paid.
never got
she got paid double what the people pay around the neighborhood. My dad believed in double.
Dad was a good employer.
Yes, anybody that did anything for us got double pay.
Double the going rate.
Yes, double the going rate.
Okay, so you pretty much got this lady to yourself because there was another nanny around to look after the other kids.
Yeah, we play and read books all day long.
Mm-hmm. And you loved her. She was not your slave.
No, she wasn't my slave. I wanted her to be family. I hated when she wasn't family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did she, by this time, she was old enough to be married, but she wasn't going anywhere, right?
No,
When-
she
so-
she wanted to marry my uncle, but somebody catch my uncle very young.
Your dad's sister or your mom's sister?
Orlando, my mom's
mom's
brother.
brother. Okay. Okay.
And he wouldn't make money with her because the other one, I did not like her at all.
Okay, so she was like thinking about getting married, but didn't manage to do it until later.
Not until later.
How old? So when she left you, so you wanted to explain why she left and how old
Well,
you were?
she didn't want to quit smoking. My mom hated smoke. Dad, she didn't think nothing of me. She told you don't quit smoking. She never quit smoking. She would just high and do it, but you can smell smoke. And by the way, I love smoking smell. I used to love the cigarette smell. Because she did that since I was born. Smoke with me in the arms, so I love that smell. I still love it. It makes me sneeze, and my mom says, if you smoke one more time, you go. And one day, she had to go. She didn't do it for many, 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 many years.
Yeah.
She never stopped smoking.
And how old were you?
After my brother was born, I was 3 when he was born. I can't remember exactly.
No.
Uh-huh. Maybe by the time Anna was born, and my mom was growing
You were
impatient.
6.
Growing impatient with the cigarette and magic books.
She liked to read fairy tales.
Fairy tales and magic books, and she was just trying to teach me the world on the other side of the mirror. My mom did not like that at all either. So that was
the world on the other side.
I think it might be Alice in Wonderland. Could it have been Alice in Wonderland?
in Mandrake.
Oh.
Mandrake?
There was this guy, big time, that had the whole world outside his mirror, and we got the books every month. Something came out real big, and she would read it to me. I was in front of the mirror, tried to get in there all the time, because she taught me that one since I was born. That's the way to count all my fantasy that I believe, I think. It never left me. My mom was right.
It's true. Probably true.
Uh-huh.
So then your mom finally kicked her out.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
It came the day that she did not stop smoking. She did not stop teaching
Your mom
me
got
about
fed up.
the other side world. And I got fed up, but she found an old military man that married her right away.
Okay.
So she was safe and okay.
And what did she name her firstborn child?
Sarah, like me.
Yeah. So that is the story of 21st century unpaid employment with a strong familial bond in a type of economy that seems to be headed our way once again. Although we have so many, we have such an advanced welfare system that
that didn't exist.
that people aren't really motivated to do that.
So I might add that my dad had 33 employees in the business. So that was a good size of business.
He was a really successful businessman.
Yeah, so when it hit us some politically problem, all you have to do is change parties. And then you will get all what you need. So
there's some political upheavals at that time.
so you have
also.
to just, if you want a telephone, if you want gas in your house, you can only do it if you change party. And my dad was flexible. Although I knew who he was after, we have to do it. That really hurt me. Because I would rather go without telephone.
That's not true.
Well, I wanted to find another way. He can't stand to sell me for the telephone.
Sell your vote for a telephone.
Yes.
Well, all right, James, do you have any elaboration or other questions?
It sounds like the better side of plantation America.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. President Franklin had he actually had far less complaints, actually 0 complaints about that fellow, but he hated it when his father sold him to his brother, his older brother, which would have been the son of the first wife. Benjamin was the son of the second wife, because I think his father had almost 10 children by his first wife, and then when he wore her out, he got a new wife, and Benjamin was the youngest of her children.
All right.
It was almost 20. So the master that was cruel to him was his half brother, who used to beat him every day, and that's why he ran away to Philadelphia. But there was even some good stories where people were outright bought, and then they were raised as family and treated well and became inheritors. That happened to Peter Williamson. What do you like about this country? What's your favorite thing about the country?
You will laugh about it, but what I like about this country, and I thought everybody was Christian. Because my Bible was made in New York. My mom's piano was made in New York. My hymn psalm was made in the U.S. All my dad's tools were made in the U.S. I thought everybody works here and it's Christian. What else can you add to life? Bigger and better than us. People that work? Oops.
Everybody that went to South America.
Got it. They were smiling all the time. Everybody there had a grouchy face for whatever reason it was.
So all the Americans that visited you guys were always happy.
And they
were on vacation.
Oh, what do I know? I was a child. And then my grandpa spoke English, so we got a lot of Americans around us all the time. And they eat the apple and throw half away in the trash. Who does that? Mister. Nobody. We even suck up on the seeds. Have you ever seen them doing that, mister? No. What
Yes.
do we do?
Well, you can talk about when you first came to visit and you were in the grocery store.
Oh, you can pick your own things. You don't have to go over the counter and ask for that. If you touch it, you have to pay for it. It was all kinds of food, all kinds of things.
Huge piles of...
Huge pile of fruit in the summer that they didn't have to be here orange or strawberry in the winter. We never had ice cream in winter.
What about refrigerators? Like
Yeah.
the open refrigerator.
Oh, yeah. Everything was like Disneyland. The real life. We didn't see anything wrong. Even if something happened and the line on the gas was long, that didn't bother us because we had to sneak in the gas station to get gas. Because my dad has the whole world friend of him. I could get the passport to come here because I had a cousin inside the federal office that gave a passport. But I made a line. I slept 2 nights on the sidewalk to get my space because everybody was leaving the country.
The South American country with political turmoil.
Mm-hmm. And we got it good. I mean, I had a good house. Everybody didn't have a car. We had a car. We had 2 televisions set in the house. Motorcycle. You know, it was not like I was.
You weren't poor, not
No.
at all. You're poor. We're
I'm
much
poor now.
poorer now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm just so sorry I ever did a change. But I'm glad my kids okay. They turned out good. So that paid. What else? I
don't know.
Yeah. And I like the fact that all the
Movies or TV shows, anything like that. Did that make you want to come?
Oh yeah, I got to learn English by watching Dallas and Us Guiding Light. Those 2, I would kill me those 2 things. And I didn't have to put water in the Coca-Cola. See, my dad would give us
Concentrate.
the Coca-Cola. He will make us
Water it down.
water down. Half a glass would be club soda. And half Coca-Cola.
I thought that was because he would buy the concentrate.
No, that was for the ice cream and other things.
Okay.
No, Coca-Cola, I mean, I can just drink just orange Fanta without putting the club soda.
Sugar.
Oh, God. I don't know. Everything. The fact that I could drive because it was automatic.
Automatic transmission.
Oh, he did a stick.
Oh my gosh.
I know. If I keep remembering, it's more than, I don't know. I just so sad seeing it all go down now because
It's changed a lot.
it changed a lot in the last 40-some years.
So part of the reason why you came to America was because there was political turmoil in your homeland?
I don't like the hate. I already lived through the hate.
The political turmoil in your
Yes.
country.
The political turmoil in the country made us get divided. It squeezed the middle class because we were middle class. We were not rich.
You were
and
middle
rich.
class in the context of poverty that has not existed in the United States in probably at least since the post-war, since after World War II.
We had to have a cash all the time because people would knock the door. I would say 3-4 times a day for food and cash to buy food. I did not like that. I knew that didn't happen in America. We were supporting so many poor people that I would, if my mom wasn't listening and they knocked the door, I would say, "Oh, sorry, all the cash is gone today. Bye-bye. Unless you got something nice to sell, I will buy it from you." So they just went to the river and got me watercress. If it was nice, I would give him a few shekels for that.
Okay.
Or if you can bring me an African violet, which has collected them. If you can find something good to sell, come and knock on my door. I will not give you money. It was daily. It makes you so sad. You don't want to live like that.
You can't see.
I got no guilt, but I got guilt. My dad says, because you got me. I knew other parents didn't do that for their kids. I thought if I go America, it will not be that way. But I got to leave it in my lifetime now. People knocking the door for me. Can I stay in your house because it's so hot outside? And until the social worker gives me more money for my hotel. So I had to keep him in my house the whole time until she can collect the ticket to give him one more week for the hotel room. They get thousands of dollars a month.
She's talking about
the poor
asylees from Central America who are numerous in the town where she lives and who know that you and your husband are always available helping people. So they come around and knock on the door.
They come around and knock at the door. And I have to keep him in my house for a few hours until she goes collect more money to get more hotel room and take her little kids. I have to babysit her kids, 2 kids, a lot of times. And I say, basta. Do not want to do that anymore because if I were to get all that help when I was raising my kids, today they will be president. Because I had to work for $2 an hour for so many years. Back in the day, we were not privileged. Like they give you health care, they give you the hotel money, counseling, the works. I can't tell you everything I did to support my 4 beautiful kids. Never, ever on welfare.
So what's happening now with these people coming around? Is that reminding you of the way it was in your home country before you left?
I think immigration is good, but a control, not invasion. And I know that this don't go. Please edit that. It's a mess. My husband been working for 7 years. He started with the Salvation Army and the Workman. And then when he did not work for them anymore, we have hundreds of people that we help get a room, get a hotel, get a job, go to the court, go to your own country office to get your ID. They come with no ID. My husband has a speed dial in his computer. He can get a birth certificate from anybody, from any of the other side of the, how to call the river? The Rio Grande. We can print anybody's birth certificate so they can get their own ID because the government doesn't have enough people working. We get zilch money. We're doing this in a little retard ticket that we have. So I don't know when it's going to over or when gold is going to fall from heaven so we can help all these people. It's very drastic what's going on.
The political situation right now in this country, what do you think of that? How does that make you feel?
How do you feel about the political situation right now in this country?
Oh, I believe on whoever is our leader, and I will vote for him 100 more times. And I'm praying for a dictator, not other side, the one we have now, or a military coup. I would love that. True.
That's very cool.
That is so good because my dad's business thrived when the militaries were on power. They put order Do not let all these people call racist you all day long because I tell you that 10 people come to my house. They park their broken car in front of my driveway, and the police come every day. That every neighbor that voted them in, they don't like the cars because my husband has a car bigger than a house, and I have to answer, please don't give us a ticket. You know who owns this car? Somebody that has been caught 6 times with DUI. I'll be in jail with nothing.
Yeah, something that we have learned is that illegal immigrants who are often asylum applicants, they basically have immunity. Like, they can drive around drunk and get pulled over numerous times, and they get, like, they might get an ankle bracelet for monitoring. But this lady, because she's pregnant for what, the 6th time?
The 6th time.
She's pregnant, so they won't even put an ankle bracelet on her because
that
could kill a pregnant woman, I guess.
I guess.
To wear an ankle bracelet.
Imagine the beautiful Americans coming on the way with a drunk mom that was at 10 o'clock in the morning. She got a whole bottle of tequila.
So, I don't know. I'm kind of done.
No, I'm sorry. I just don't want to poison you. Beautiful mind. But I'm...
Yeah, we're in the middle.
I'm sorry.
Sarah is in the middle of it.
Yes.
Like many firsthand stories about, you knew, what was she, a Salvadoran, or the woman that said that she was gonna...
Guatemala.
She was organizing the invasion?
Oh, the lady that was organizing the invasion in Georgia.
Words. Yeah.
That's her words. My sister wanted her to come to our church and told me, if you spend time with Martha, I want her to come to our church. And I said, okay, I'll spend the lunch with her. I was in Georgia taking care of my mom back in the day, a few years ago. Actually, 7, 8.
Yeah.
And look at how old is this problem, which is not a crisis. It's all made up. And she's with the cell phone calling people from the Yellow Pages in all the other countries. She's from Mexico. And she's doing the sales pitch saying, remember when California, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas was from Mexico? We're going to get it back without shooting one bullet. You're going to do it this way. And she's collecting people, telling them, the minute that you say that you are in danger, they will give you the hotel, they will give you food, they will give you everything. And she's collecting people in lunchtime. And when you talk with any white American from Georgia, they told me I was crazy. That wasn't true. I was working in a military, I was sewing uniforms for the soldiers in this factory in Georgia. So you get to see all these people that had no paper, working, making the uniform for our soldiers. And this lady asked me, totally different subject, how many depends you have? I said, I'm not that old. I don't wear depends. No, how many depends? I thought she was talking about old people's diaper. Oh, no, I don't. No, the taxes. How many kids do you say you have? I said, don't have any. They're all married and going out of the house. Don't have depends. I just very slow to understand. Oh, I got 10. And I said, that's a lie. You don't even have one in here. Oh, we do it all the time. So when they work, they put 10 kids on the papers. And they don't pay taxes after they get all this money back. And they're not even their Social Security. They used to pay $62 for that phony Social Security, which they tell them that they have 10 kids, and they get all this check, which I have to pay taxes. No, because I don't have depends. And they do have 10. Everybody have 10 depends. Dependents. Okay, have an accent. I guess if you didn't know that. So.
Right, you sound right.
You can write a book about this. It's true. It's not a fake.
So, what do you say when you know some really nice women who are maybe not really liberal, but not entirely conservative, and they have a lot of sympathy for the immigrants.
Why they separate family? They don't separate. America don't separate family. They separate themselves. When they decided to come home and get violated, they get naked to swim in the Rio Grande, and they don't know where the kids are. My sister rescued 5 kids, not in this administration, but in the beautiful 44 administration. 5 kids from the border there where they were fed Rick's crackers and apple juice for 3 months. And so that idiot Glenn Beck had to go and give him a whole truck of food, which I don't know if the kids that were there eating that.
So that was during the Obama administration.
And
there was this facility at the border where people would basically shove their children across the border. And then the immigration people would pick up the children and bring them to this like child detention something facility. And then the kids would wait there for months at a time for somebody to maybe claim them or maybe not claim them. And so your sister would go, and she went 5 times. And what did they tell her? So she would pick up people that were related to people that she knew.
She knew.
And so she would have some, link to say that such and such child is who I'm looking for. So what did they tell her after she picked up the first one?
After she picked up 5, you're going to be charged as a coyote.
A coyote or a child trafficker.
Child trafficker. The judge was really mad in Georgia because she did it because some people were crying for this kid. The girls didn't shower for 3 months. Their hair was this big. She had to take them to a beauty parlor and get the lice off their heads when they got
And she would pick them up, take them to a hotel, scrub them down, feed them.
Scrub them down, feed them, and hug them day and night because this kid's been detained.
So this is something that people do voluntarily, and that was going on in the previous administration.
Yeah.
Where people would just shove their children across the border to put them into U.S. custody, and just hope that someone would get around to picking them up.
My brother-in-law took 2 17-year-old, they said they are, in the airplane. You don't have to show ID. You don't have to show nothing. They get an airplane and go wherever the family is.
You're not describing people who are trafficking. You're describing that people, your husband and your sister and her husband, helping people who are already inside the United States and are already a burden on the government, and just trying to relieve that burden, trying to help these people learn how to manage life in the United States. People are surprised. When people come over, are they surprised at what life is like here, or do they expect it because they have relatives who tell them?
They're surprised they have to work.
They're surprised they have to work.
They have to work so hard. I said, you tell me how many rich, filthy people are the one that cross and did all that. They pay the coyote $8,000 to come through. That's pretty big money.
Yeah.
I said, you should make a shag in your country. It'd be cheaper to stay there than to pay this man $8,000. And for what? You have to work. They don't work hard though, because they accommodate them. They reward them with free money. So why bother?
These people that pay the coyote, do they expect to have to work when they get, or just expect that they don't?
Some people work hard. I tell you, I got all kinds of people coming to my house. Some people work very hard. The only thing that most of them, they hate us.
They hate Americans, or they hate white
people?
They hate
white people.
Hate anybody.
They hate white people. All he does is tell them, don't hate anybody. You're here because you wanted to make it better. Learn the American way. Work hard and dream. He tells them every day, you need to work hard and dream and just complain less. For what? Because they got the GPS and the ankle bracelet, and they know all the time where are they. So once in a while, when that thing beeps, they have to go to the office right away. Well, that is such a bother. They don't want to be. They have to count how many they let it in, So they put this ankle bracelet on the leg.
So there is some attempt at keeping track of who is awaiting an asylum hearing. Is what she's trying to say, that they, they'll put some kind of ankle bracelet and then release you out into the wild and instruct you, that you have to come by the office at some point, and then that causes people to complain.
Some people get the first Monday of the month, some people get the Tuesday of the month,
Yeah.
and they all have to check themselves in.
Yeah.
Some people get tired and they have that, and they beep in my house.
The people, is it ICE that calls him, or the cops?
Some office that owns the GPS, which is the contractor.
They know that your husband is looking after those people.
Yeah.
They just need a ton of supervision. They can't figure out life in America on their own.
No.
I want to ask Sarah about one thing that happened there. 2 years ago, I went to a Guatemalan, Honduran, Salvadoran restaurant.
2 years ago, he went to a restaurant.
It had an open kitchen right on the other side of the counter.
You could see the kitchen.
And the Guatemalan cook refused to cook our meal. We couldn't get served.
The
Salvadoran girl on the counter gave us sodas and didn't charge us, but the Guatemalan girl that was cooking refused to cook our meal, so we ended up leaving.
Him.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I sure Lynn's picture with her daughters, and one of them told me that they look like fish because they were too white. And I said, well, not white. Oh.
Well, okay, so one thing is, it's shocking that when he told that story, it was shocking to me because in my mind, if a woman comes here from Central America, it's because she wants to work for the white man.
Yeah.
So they saw them come into the restaurant, and the lady at the counter gave them a table and gave them some sodas, but they never even came around to get your order, or did you, like...
Oh, she took our order.
And then...
She took our order, but then the cook refused to cook it.
Yeah.
And then 4 Latino men came in, and they took that order, and then she right away cooked their order. So they didn't tell us they weren't going to serve us, but
they made you wait.
The cook just
they have a lot of
order.
It's sad that people are so feel guilty, and they are not victims from their country or our country. And some people think that we all did it to them. My parents and grandparents were in Italy, whatever. They work hard for their home, for the food, for the children. These people work hard, and they want us to regard them because they work in the fields. But I got news for them. They're coming up with so many equipment in the field that we will not need field working anymore. Where are we going to put all these people that all they know is how to work in the field? With everybody switching, and in the valley I live, for crops that will be harvested by robots or machines, they will need less people eventually.
And this is another thing that I've tried to explain to, I don't know, our listeners or whoever. Then Americans do not understand white supremacy. In Latin American culture, it actually matters how white you are. So,
how much money, how many degrees, it doesn't matter what color you are in the country I come from.
That's not true, though.
Well, if you have a degree...
Socially, if you have... Yes, okay.
You're somebody.
But socially, everybody thinks it's more beautiful to be whiter.
Oh, yes. It's normal, but it's not as...
For example, my daughters look pretty different, right?
Yeah.
So they could expect somewhat different social outcomes based on their appearance.
Oh, yeah. If they go to the bank and they will get along without checking.
But comparing the two, no, don't you think that because one daughter is darker?
Yeah.
I mean, that she would be reminded every day that she's the dark person in the
family.
Yes,
that's true.
Every day, cousins and neighbors.
If you fall.
Yeah, but the color is a big deal.
The color is a big deal. Okay, I've been too
And
long
by
in
reputation, she would be treated well because people know comes from a good family or whatever.
Yeah.
But you would never let someone forget that they're like
That's true.
the dark person
Yes.
in the family.
No, yeah. The even in the
Which I would be considered.
Yeah. I was too.
Yeah.
I wasn't blue eye. Every single cousin on my family had blue eyes. I didn't. And I had grief for that. I had to pay it,
So they
dearly
pay
for
attention to small shades of color. And with you, when you were in the restaurant, you were with another man who does not appear to be like a wealthy, influential person, but you're both white guys, and that's enough to
hate you.
Garner the animosity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now it's after the instead of be better after the 44 administration, it's worse. Because now he took the value of any white man that did any good in America. He's the only worthy of praise because he was colored. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I had a lot of Russian friends growing up. They were my favorite people. They were so afraid to talk. They didn't know who in the family would sell them. They didn't know when the police would come to home, and they were all in a
Soviet refugees,
Soviet
basically, that were afraid of the government.
Where I was growing up in Poland, in Czechia, they all are friends. They had no freedom to talk. They would start whispering and pulling us in a room that nobody was there to tell us the story. And I feel that it's happening right now, right here. I feel it because I have an extra nose for that coming. Don't put any of this.
So,
I'm sorry.
oh, that was great. I hope that part on that.
I'll keep it.
Yeah.
Because I told Ann to make another channel. Just in case.
I have a channel on BitChute.
Good. Because I listen to all the people that get knocked out of the air. That's why I keep my flame going. I would never change, Mr. LaFond. I will always be a small militant in my heart for the right cause.
I don't think the military coup would have the effect that you think it would have.
No, because they're all ladies now. They all wear pantyhose.
The military's converged.
Yes, that's true. They all wear lipsticks. Dang it.
I
Pick that out, too.
no, please keep that in.
We have many veterans
No.
readers and listeners that we love, but they're the ones who say that that's the case.
Well, you know what? When I used to go to sleep and we do a night prayer, my dad would tell me, thank God for the military. We can go to sleep because our military is so strong. He would tell me that. He was the right man, my dad. And I did not know what he meant. I just repeated, thank God for the military. They keep us safe at night. I hope we have few real generals that could do that for us.
They're not allowed to.
That's true.
They're not allowed to look after the border.
Damn. I'm just so pure Italian. I don't have that warrior inside of me.
You are pure Italian, except you have a South American flair for a
Exactly.
military coup.
But I don't have a warrior spirit. I'm more like a priest or something. Oh, go fight! I'll pray for you. You know?
Actually, I told a friend back during the Obama administration. I told him that I was praying for a military coup, and he was really shocked. He did not like that.
I went to the gymnastic class with other grandkids, and this lady told me, like you told me, why do you think about it politically? Because she's listened to my accent. Oh, lady, you won't believe what I'm praying for. And she says, what are you praying for? For a military coup. I can't wait for it. This is right here with everybody, and the dog is liberal.
Very liberal.
I'd like to ask a question about that. it would be, in your mind, the thing about a military coup that is appealing is that you would feel safer because you would be able to say what you wanted without fear of people coming to get you? Is that it?
You have more freedom of speech under the military than under freedom?
Yes, because you are with them and they know you're loyal.
Or they just don't care what you say.
Just don't care what you say because they got the gun.
Yeah.
You know.
Because if in a political regime, then you have to control the press and you have to control people's opinions and the universities and this and that. And what happened was in that time in your country, the newspapers were all shut down and everybody was fired, and they reopened the newspapers the next day with the political allies.
It was curfew. You can't turn your light off after 7. You cannot go to your backyard because the choppers would go constantly going around. But it was safer. They were put in order. There's some things that will never work. And I'm older than you.
You are?
None of them work.
No, I think I look older than you do.
You got just the hair done.
Look at that.
I go for Walmart. I can buy some. No, yeah, it's really. I hope it doesn't get worse before it gets better. That's all I can hope.
It's going to, promise. Guaranteed going to get
Oh,
worse.
I listened to somebody's report, and it's not very nice what's coming up. So.
No, it's still getting worse, definitely.
So, if there was a strong military leadership, you feel like there would be less academic tyranny or political speech tyranny? You know, the media tyranny that's going on now with people not being allowed to say what they want without losing their jobs.
So, do you think that that's connected because the military doesn't care what you say? Because the military just doesn't have to be voted?
Exactly. And because of my own experience, I know that this culture is a lot different, the South American culture. And by the way, Italian culture is the same way than South America, I think. They're not considered European. They consider whatever.
Non-Anglo.
Non-Anglo. So I had the same way of thinking. I love freedom. I love to be able to speak and not fear. And I don't want to be called racist because I'm not white.
That's why? Not because you're not racist?
No, because we got 3% of something that is, you know.
You're not, I mean, the question of are you racist or are you not?
I'm not.
Is not
if
even
you're
the
nice.
point. It's not the point. The point is that racism itself has become the most important thing that anybody can ever worry about, right? Because if it's the number one sin that you cannot be forgiven, and that I think that's what people.
Depends to who. If it's against a white person, you're totally okay to do it. It's not called racist. It's called white privilege.
Right.
You go to any university, and my kids are going through a lot, and all my nephews, and everywhere, no one knows how to speak English, and they're teaching your kids.
Yes.
They don't.
The professors speak terrible English.
The teachers, they're all from an island that has nothing to do with the U.S., and they're constantly indoctrinating them. You have some white person that believe they're Indian, American Indian, so they're all day making the kids hate the Mayflower because they got rid of the Indians, which is don't know what's true. I wasn't there. Well, I know what they did in my country, so it's kind of all they did it.
I know they did.
They did it.
It was pretty effective extermination.
Oh, yes. They told him go to Brazil. Oh, if you stay here beside that, they all went to Brazil, some part. And the other parts, I don't know what happened.
Y lo hicieron a los negros también.
Los negros para Brasil.
Sí. Y lo hicieron, pelearon una guerra para que lo matarían.
Yes. So, I wasn't there either, so I can't tell you how bad it was.
But that's not the point.
The point is what's going on here, that
Americans have a romantic desire to be Native American. I don't think that's a racial question. I think it's like cowboys and Indians and Pocahontas, and they love to be part of that tradition. It's because American culture is, big portion of American culture is Native American culture.
And it's beautiful.
It is, yeah.
And I wish I could be part of it. Like the Mayflower. I wish I can say that my parents came in the Mayflower like all the people I talk, but they didn't. My parents did not come from the Mayflower, and they didn't come, and they're not Pocahontas, so I'm a nobody.
We have no privilege.
We have no privilege.
Wrong kind of white people.
Yeah.
I think Pocahontas was Italian. Seriously. I've seen an illustration that was made when she went to England. Her father had a beard. He was an important guy. De Verrazano, who was an Italian sailing for the French, explored Virginia before John Smith got there and met Pocahontas. I think that Pocahontas might be De Verrazano's great-granddaughter.
Oh.
Okay, she did look Italian.
Yeah. Then maybe we are Native American.
So beautiful.
We have one family member who was devastated to do her 23andMe and find out she had not one drop of Native American blood, because it's a big part of her family lore. And it's something James and I have talked about a lot, is that,
Really?
well, what happened was in the early plantation era, which we also call the colonies, that's the usual word for it.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it's different, but the life was terrible for the little white kids there. They hated it, and they would run away. Sometimes they would get captured by the Indians. Sometimes they would run away and join the Indians, and they wouldn't want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And they became Indians. So, these people have ancestors who were Indians, but they were also little English children that ran away from their slavery. So, can be both ways.
The American hate has been going even before they came to the U.S. I had a friend in Bolivia, which was American, but she had to put charcoal on her face so Bolivian people don't chop it up and eat her until she got saved up.
You never told me that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
Rachel's mom.
Oh, Rachel's mom?
Mm-hmm.
She was scared to be cannibalized?
They were going to kill them.
For what? For hatred or
Because
for
they
magic
said
or
the
for
American people cursed them and they couldn't have a baby.
what? Oh.
I don't
I don't know
know.
that.
I don't know if they give them herbs. So they
Gave
don't
them
have...
Well,
vaccinations or something?
I have no idea. I was too young and I loved Americans. I could not, because my grandpa lived here for so long. And he's got the American flag, all his stories, all the stickers on his trunk from all the places he's been in America, and the trains, and it was like you said, romantic. I thought that nobody was better than Americans, and I think the strong people were the Russians. I never thought Americans were strong. I think they were nice. Because I had a friend from Italy.
I think that's very accurate.
Pardon me?
Accurate.
Ooh.
I think that's very accurate.
And it's all wife tales.
It's true in boxing. Russian
Boxing.
fighters are much stronger than American fighters.
Yeah, okay.
And it's mainly mental strength. They're mentally stronger. The Russian fighters are just mentally much stronger across the board than American fighters.
Yeah.
And you can bank them. I have an idea. Okay, I have an idea for the future. It looks like it's going to be very dangerous to be a white person. So maybe one of you ladies could come up with a cosmetics idea, like your friend in Bolivia did. So without damaging your skin, you could actually make yourself look like you're mixed race, so you won't be picked on. Do you think that's possible?
It's possible, and the Kardashians already do this. The Kardashians are, well, some of them are Armenian, but the other ones, the younger ones, are not. Like Bruce Jenner's kids. They're not Armenian at all, and they're completely white kids, but they wear their hair black, and they even you can buy hair extensions that have like a little bit of African texture to them. And they wear these textured extensions, and they wear contour makeup, like really dark. I don't know if they're still doing this. But yeah, the Kardashians are totally fake ghetto girls. I'm not sure. I mean, the Armenian ones are dark naturally, but not the other ones are faking it. So. Yeah, I mean, okay, you see this both. You see women adding dark makeup to do this, like, they call it contouring, so you can, if I were skilled, I could paint my nose in a way that in pictures it would look narrow, would look really narrow, and the cheekbones would look bigger and stuff like that. But then you see Latina, women, they put white makeup on, and it's just like you can buy a few shades lighter than your own skin because they sell it in a lot of shades, and you see that all the time.
Well, the new princess in England, she's got pictures that she looked totally white. But when she's washed out, she doesn't look white at all. Markle, she looks African, very good African. But when she's got the S-plastic on, she looks American. She looks pretty white to me. Because I used to watch her in Suits.
You watch that show?
Yeah. I would watch that all the time. When I told him that she was going to meet the prince, she will marry the prince. Yeah. I said, yeah. And when she's all washed up and with the curly hair, she does not look the same at all. So we can do that. I don't have a problem. I'm pretty brown.
But, and you can also just tell people, like, we're Hispanic. Even my children don't really speak Spanish a little bit. But this is a generational privilege that we will not let go of. I mean, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
But I know someone else who, when his kids were born, he marked them down as Native American. So I encourage everyone to do this. I encourage everyone to just find any ancestor or anything you can hang on to. Get your 23andMe done, and they'll probably put a little drop of African in there. They do. I believe that they do this. I believe that when white men take the test, they will, and it's on record that they were doing it. Someone admitted it. They'll put in like a 1 or 2, a fraction of a % of African, and then you should just take that. Just say, hey, I have a fraction of African.
I know of a pretty white kid that was going to school somewhere in California. He wanted to kill himself because he wasn't dark. Now he went to a different school.
Oh,
in his picture, He was on school that everybody was rainbow. So now he's going to a military school. In the picture that I saw, he's got 4 white boys with him. And he's happiest that I have ever seen him in 5-6 years.
Well,
and I was telling him, you won't get a job. You need to do something about it when you grow up.
Oh, I tell all the suburban moms I know.
You won't get a job.
I know older moms, and when their sons get jobs, I tell them straight up, wow, you're so lucky that your white son got a job. That's awesome. And I know so act really happy because they need to know. That's my little red pill, like, oh, I'm amazed they gave Scott he got a tenure professor. No, it's a miracle. It's a miracle he got that job. Yeah.
Well, he's French Italian though.
No. He didn't put anything like that.
That
doesn't.
Yeah, I thought that he used the French Italian parents.
French Italian doesn't get you anything.
Nothing.
No.
Okay.
No. There's no points for French or Italian.
Okay. So you got to be brown.
I talked to a woman in New Jersey who was very proud that her son started a business. And she told me the reason why she was so happy that he started his own business with a friend of his was that she worked in government and she knew that her white son would not be able to get a job in government or public works, that his only chance to getting a good job would be to start his own business. Maybe that's the way in the future.
That is the way too. Okay, that's a good point to put out there because it's very hard. I know that people qualify, that come from the military. They want to get a job. If they're totally white, to teach in schools, they don't get it. They have to go and do pizza, or they have to do other things because they don't get these jobs. They only get jobs they align with the UN.
For 4 years, I worked for these two rich white women managing their supermarket, and I was allowed to hire and fire, but I did have to run it by them so they at least knew what was happening. Every time I hired a white man, they would give me a hard time. I stopped working there because they started firing people on my days off, and they were mainly firing white people. And they really hated having white employees. They wanted to be the only white people in the building. They wanted to have nothing but African-American employees. And even most of the African-American employees didn't like that idea. They wanted to work with white people. They just didn't want to work with nothing but black people. So it was really bizarre. And then after I stopped working there, they got rid of 5 or 6 white men. Right. Just as soon as I left, these guys were gone. It was really bizarre. And most of the people I hired were black. I would hire 5 to 1, five blacks to 1 white, just because that was the available force pool. But when I hired that white person, these whites give me a hard time.
Look at that.
And they were white.
Did you ever notice in the black employment pool any awareness, or maybe it wasn't in Maryland at the time, but any awareness of the fact that they were getting displaced by Central Americans? Yes,
absolutely. They knew they couldn't get into construction. Since I was a boy, black men in Baltimore had very much resented Korean, Chinese, and Latin American people setting up businesses in their neighborhood. There was a high level of animosity towards new immigrants amongst the African.
I gotta input this to you. I listen to 2 black men all the time, and they're the only ones sticking up for the white man. One is married to a Mexican, and the other one I don't know. But they're always.
Are they friends of yours or?
No, I listen to their podcast.
Okay.
But I listen to them because they're the only one that can talk and allow, and their channels don't get blacked out for them saying, oh, and then Diamond and Silk. They stick up for the white people too.
Yeah, but they're getting paid really well to do that.
That's true, but at least they can't.
I'm sorry, but I have to say
that
you do. When persons of color are working for the Republican Party, they're getting paid really well to say whatever nonsense they say, and I don't take any of it at face value.
I use their help.
What help?
I think
what help? They're getting paid. You're not getting paid.
Well,
not a
if
single,
I go there, I get arrested. They don't get arrested.
Not a single black person is going to vote for Trump because of Diamond and Silk. Diamond and Silk.
I just hope you're wrong.
No, I am not wrong. I am completely right, and I guarantee.
There goes my hope.
No, they won't. I mean, the whole game of putting persons of color, I hate saying that, but persons of color for the Republican Party is to make white Republicans feel good about it because people are so scared of being racist.
Well,
so, no, I talked about this to other people. I said, oh, but they're proving that Trump isn't racist. No, they aren't proving a damn thing. Trump is still considered racist. He will be considered racist until the day he dies.
Yeah.
And the black vote for Trump will be
Look at all the money that he's putting in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Why? They never got up and say, he's not racist. He's dumping money on a dump.
It's a political game, and it doesn't... Why? Because it's a game. I mean, this is, when you talk about how relaxing it is when you have a military coup, it's because you don't have to worry about politics. It's because you don't have to care about who's voting for who. And
I don't even care. I don't
Sorry,
like
this is our normal volume. When we have familial interactions, we start screaming, but it's not.
Oh. Well, that's not funny.
Can you? That's just how we do.
Well, this is normal. In Baltimore, this is very normal behavior amongst Italian women. Okay.
All right. So you're familiar.
Yes.
It's genetic. So yeah, we start screaming. Things get sometimes really shocked by it. But
the nephew's wife is white, and he says, When people start talking like that, I need to go to my room. Is that okay if I go to my room now? Oh, she's a sour damn girl.
So anyway, I don't care. I mean, the point is that politics is stressful. Who am I going to vote for? Who is my neighbor going to vote for? Who is Pennsylvania going to vote for? It's like we should not have. That's not natural for a human being to worry all day long about that. And it's very stressful. And then you go and you get addicted to that stress and you go and look for it. You know, it's just a game.
You know, when I just came here, I used to miss the curfew. I used to miss those 5 days that people would not be able to come out of the house and have food, and then everybody come to your house because your dad was the best prepper on the block. I miss that chaos.
Well, it was not chaos. It was predictable. But you were ready for it, so you felt secure.
I mean, we had a room that nobody knew we had. It was all full of food all the time, just in case. It was fun.
It was fun because you never had to care. You never had to worry. Yeah. It's not fun for people who don't know.
The one that are down the street and didn't have shoes. I mean, they have just like those little thing. But anyway, I missed it. I was thinking, there's no fun in here.
I would like a curfew. Everybody have to be completely silent. No cars in the street. That would be great.
Well, that's the way it was. Yeah. Nobody after 7.
I went through a curfew for a week.
No, during Freddie Gray?
I even had some mercenary threaten me in a nice way. They were very nice about telling me to go indoors as they grinned, hoping I would argue with them.
It's true. They were very nice standing outside.
They were polite.
Move along.
Weren't you shot at once?
Oh.
Well, I went to the backyard to take the tablecloth and everything from the napkins because we have fabric back in the day. I was going to go to the laundry room, which you had to come to the backyard. And in that moment, the choppers came on the top of the tree and fire to the fence. If they were to fire me, they would that on purpose because all the fence.
It was a warning shot.
Like a warning. Yeah. And my dad grabbed me, put me inside the house, yell at me like he wanted to kill me, and then hug me and cry.
That's still preferable to...
Maybe the United States will become much more fun to live in the future.
Yeah, you two agree on that. You look forward to, social...
I'll stay in my house as long as when it's time to get out and buy. My mom would send me, would send my nanny, would send the girl that cleaned the house. Because they ration you. You can own a kilo of anything. So I will go for a kilo of this. My nanny will go for a kilo of something else. And we got food and soda. We had a soda machine in my house. We couldn't drink water. It was too wet. So we made our own club soda in the house. And we had the syrup to make it yummy. So...
No, don't peel that, please.
I forgot all of this. She didn't prepare me. I'm not prepared. I should have been
didn't need to prepare you.
Oh, you did great. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Well, I did enjoy talking to you too.
Yeah, if you ever feel like there's something you'd really like to comment on that's got you worried or upset or angry or happy, just ask Lynn and we can slip you in. So you don't have to have your own channel. You could have a little slot on the Crackpot Podcast.
Fantastic.
I love listening to you.
Oh, I would like to be your guest again, Mr. LaFond. I really enjoy this. I feel like I've been in the box for too long.
Okay.
All
right.
Well,
thank you, Sarah, special guest, joining us from unnamed South American country. And James, of course, the Crackpot. We can never do a Crackpot podcast without you.
then we've got shit to do in outer space. Mothers can wait. We will take the ones worth saving. Pack your bags, we are vacating now. Forever, forever. There's a cosmic radio in my head, and it's reading news articles, and the correspondent sadly said the universe is flat. He also mentioned that gravity is caused by our cavities and our reflection of time's not a receding headline, it's all mass produced in the back of our minds. Let's face it, there's some things that we will never know, and I don't ever want to know. And so it goes. Let's fuck it up, let us run amok, let's do the things that we want to do. We're animals after all. Let it go, friend. We will see you again at a later date in another life. You will be mine. I know everything must go when it is just about time. Run for the hills out yonder, through the traffic and the people. Boy, it really makes me wonder.